Politics 24 Sammy Gyamfi ababedin komo Sammy Gyamfi di nchiremu ni na ba Ghana fo amokeka say Sammy Gyamfi aton gold boss aton gold aboka na se ton gold boka de ne se kokoso beton aboka gold aden se ton boka ni se mbebra amoka kan Ghana ha se aton gold aboka na Sammy Gyamfi e clarifications ni na aba oba be ma nchiremu ni na buso ye mu wura video nim ni enje bre ni nchiremu Sammy Gyamfi achire ni na ye ba ni nyanto wase ne yi one after the other ni edi hu komo ha politics 24 but more than subscribe to the channel. Let's say video no obuzia na do adwen to comment section aje bracket kan ni na dem ye mu video no mrasisia
to focus on it and explain. Special greetings to Prof. Bokken, who taught me financial management during my EPM program at the University of Ghana. But before I do that, I think there are some preliminary issues that we need to clarify. The impression is being created by some, not your panelists per se, but by some, as though the Góld Bóàrd has made losses and is shying away from acknowledging that it has made losses. Alfred, the Góld Bóàrd is not a typical commercial venture established for the main purpose of making profits. The Góld Bóàrd is a strategic corporation with two objects: foreign exchange generation for the country and supporting gold reserve accumulation by the Bank of Ghana. And that is why, if you look at the Góld Bóàrd Act, nowhere in the act is the word profit used, rather the word surplus is used. We are mandate driven and not necessarily profit driven. And so if we even make losses in the discharge of our mandate, we will be very happy to concede that and to show how that loss came about and the benefits of that loss, if any. And so nobody is shying away from losses. Facts are sacrosanct. The Góld Bóàrd is barely 8 months old. Per Section 76 of the Góld Bóàrd Act, it took over the assets, liabilities, contracts of the defunct Precious Minerals Marketing Company. So for the first year that the Góld Bóàrd has been in operation, our financials are available. We have not made losses. We have rather made surpluses. And we have published our financials as required by law, our quarterly financials on our website. And anybody can go and check. So the IMF has not said the Góld Bóàrd has made losses. And it is important that we put that matter to rest. The Góld Bóàrd has not made losses. And if the Góld Bóàrd makes a loss, the Góld Bóàrd will not shy away from that. The reason why the lawmaker in drafting the Góld Bóàrd Act did not use the word profit and loss is because that is not the main object. You understand? So why will we even shy away from that if we've made losses? We have made stop losses, and latest by February or March next year, when external auditors audit our books, that will. Alfred, yes. The suggestion is being made that the Bank of Ghana is making losses, and the Bank of Ghana is shying away from the losses. The Bank of Ghana says that the statement put out by the IMF that in their country report that it made $240 million from January to September of this year under the Gold for Reserve program is speculative. It means the Bank of Ghana is shying away from losses. That is not true. Why? Bank of Ghana, why would Bank of Ghana shy? Bank of Ghana has been making consecutive losses. In 2022, it made a loss of 60.8 billion. In 2023, it made a loss of 10.5 billion cedis. In 2024, it made a loss of 9.4 billion. Nobody was crucified in this country. And so if all the IMF is saying is that Bank of Ghana has made a loss of $214 million, equivalent to $2.5 billion, that will even be a reduction of the recurring losses of the Bank of Ghana. Why would the Bank of Ghana run away from that? What the Bank of Ghana is saying is this. I have been in meetings with the Bank of Ghana and the IMF, in which the Bank of Ghana has told the IMF that there are issues of accounting and financial reporting surrounding the Gold for Reserve program. That it has referred to its external auditors for resolution, and that how those cost items are treated in the financials can impact the level of profits or losses. And so the IMF should exercise patience and allow its external auditors resolve the issues. And in that meeting, the IMF agreed. So we are not just saying that, oh, management accounts are not available, and that it is only when external audits are concluded that losses can be ascertained. No, they are critical issues of financial reporting and accounting treatment principles for the financials surrounding the Gold for Reserve program that the Bank of Ghana has discussed with the IMF. Their disagreements and same have been referred to its external auditors. And so all the Bank of Ghana is saying is that let that process conclude so that we can have a fair, balanced picture. The Bank of Ghana is not running away from any $214 million losses, which in any case is far lesser than the recurring losses the Bank of Ghana has been making in the last 3 years. Let's make that preliminary point also very clear.
Okay.
Now, you must understand that the Gold Board, like I said, is barely 8 months. Has this year now put in place the institutional framework for its operations and all that. Okay, so the Gold Board concept, as envisioned under the Gold Board Act, has not taken off, and I have put that on record already. But because the Gold Board took over the PMMC, the Gold Board inherited the PMMC's existing contract with the Bank of Ghana under the Domestic Gold Purchase Program, which basically is that, and will advance funds to PMMC, now Gold Board, as its agents to buy gold, assay the gold, and export the gold to off-takers of the Bank of Ghana. Now, this program started, as you are aware, in 2022. And when the program was being launched, this domestic gold purchase program was being launched, the object, the policy design was not for profit. And that is what I want my revered lecturer, Professor Bobkin, to understand. He says that why can't we as a country be able to sell gold and break even or make profit? No, that was not the policy design. To sell gold and make profit is easy. You just have to know your cost, and you just have to price at a discount that absorbs your cost and gives you a margin as profit. That is easy, anybody can do that. But in 2022, when this program was being launched, the Bank of Ghana knew at the time that gold was already being bought in the open market by all manner of people, mostly foreigners, at the black market rate, the informal exchange rate, retail rate, if I can put it that way, and at the world market price, within a discount range of 1% to 2%. And you can ask any gold trader. That was how gold was being bought in 2021, 2022, 2022, 2023. And that is how gold has always been bought.
I see.
So when Bank of Ghana was coming in, Bank of Ghana was not like Gold Board. PMMC did not have the market regulation and enforcement powers that the Gold Board has to deal with leakages and smuggling. And so the Bank of Ghana decided to use price to fend off smugglers so that it will get gold for FX, knowing very well that there will be an intrinsic cost or losses. And that is why on 1st December 2022, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abujinapo, in his directives to gold traders as part of the rollout of the Gold for Oil program at paragraph 4, announced that the PMMC will be buying gold for the Bank of Ghana at spot price. Spot price. Nobody buys gold at spot price for the purpose of making profit, because when you buy at spot, you can sell at spot. Dory is sold at discount to take account of freight, insurance, handling charges, to take account of commissions of buyers and all that. So you obviously run at a loss. But the policy justification was that we needed the forex so bad to bring about macroeconomic stability, the benefits of which will make that loss infinitesimal. That is the whole point. So it is not about somebody not having the ability to. Why did government scrap? You see, the MPP introduced a withholding tax of 3% on gold purchases in 2023. That was the year that gold output was the lowest in Ghana's history, owing to smuggling. 3%. It later reduced it to 1.5%. When the NDC came, we took the 1.5% tax from the price of Dory. Now, the cost on gold purchases is about 5%. So to say that you want to make profit means you have to buy gold at minimum 5% discount. That is almost double the tax that was introduced in 2023 that ensured that we lost all the gold and all the FX stayed in Dubai and India. And the Ghanaian became the poorer. The economy became the poorer. And so let's understand the policy from this perspective. Now again, to the most fundamental issue of pricing. Góld Bóàrd, and for that matter, Bank of Ghana, can be profit conscious and say we want to price to make profit. We are pricing a 5% discount. That will help us to absorb all our costs and make us break even. But we know that once we do that, we will lose all the gold and there will be no forex to stabilize the currency. And when you lose control of your currency, you lose control of inflation, and cost of living will go up the roofs and your people will suffer. And so what do? We say, okay, what we will do is that we will change the exchange rate denominator in the price calculation from the historic retail rate, which has been used all these years, and bring it to interbank. Prof, by doing that, Góld Bóàrd has already discounted the local price of gold by more than 10% already. So to slap another discount on the world market price will make our price uncompetitive and only deepen the leakages and defeat the whole essence of the program. That is why we price this way. But we know that even if what the IMF is saying is true, that we've incurred costs, okay, of $240 million, even if that is true. Prof taught me economics. He knows that there is a cost to everything. If Ghana went to the Eurobond market to borrow $10 billion, we will be paying interest of not less than 10%, true or false?
Okay.
That is more than $1 billion. It comes, $240 million comes nowhere close to that. By rising this way and bringing $10 billion, the CD has appreciated by almost 35%. First time in Ghana's history since 2007. The inflation rate has reduced by 11 consecutive months from 23.8% to 6.3%. Food prices have gone down by 32%. In terms of savings to the country, let me tell you this, because in this country, we know the value of everything but the cost of nothing. Let me tell you the value.
And why you round up for me?
Mm-hmm. Yes, why I round up. For 2025, the government has spent $1.8 billion in servicing its external debt. Another $1.8 billion in paying IPPs. That is together $3.6 billion.
Okay.
If government serviced that $3.6 billion debt at an exchange rate of 16 cedis, which we inherited, without the intervention of Góld Bóàrd and what we are talking about today, the $10 billion inflows, it would have cost the country 15 billion cedis more. We would have to convert 15 billion cedis more to service that debt.
Okay.
I have not even spoken about the import bill. Let me tell you something. We are talking about January to September. The import bill from January to September 2025 is $11.8 billion. Do the math. If importers imported those goods at 16 cities, as compared to an average exchange rate of 12 cities, we would have lost an extra 52 billion cities.
There are a number of things that you point to.
$240 million. That is why the Bank of Ghana, that is why the IMF itself is not able to say that the program is bad and that we should stop.
And in fact,
the IMF is saying, after just 1 second, what the IMF is saying is that it is fine, this is good. You have met your foreign reserve target for 2028. In 2025, it's unimaginable. We never even thought you could do this.
Right.
But we don't want the cost. IMF is saying we don't want the cost to sit in the books of the Bank of Ghana. And we have said that, okay, where should it sit? Whether it sits in the books of Góld Bóàrd or the Ministry of Finance, it is sitting in the books of Ghana.
Okay,
so
thank you.
We have now come up with reforms for 2026, because from 2026, Góld Bóàrd will now take off fully. And we have told the IMF that when we take off fully, some of these issues that you are concerned is impacting the books of Bank of Ghana will become a turn of the past.
Will be dealt with. So then that answers the question about the way forward.
Great. So let's understand these issues.
Thank you very much, Sammy Gyamfi, for this. In fact, I asked those two questions.
We ayon koma lawyer Sammy Gyamfi ababidi. In fact, we chilimo ya establish Góld Bóàrd no say seven traders and ye ba be ye anase ye betonton gold no awo mine mu na ya be pen faso bum bi e ho na mum the act no kwana say mra e bata gold buy no gold sell no ho kwana eno no nkyere say ye pe gold ho faso bia da bi entin mo amokeka say gold ni ato aboka na Ghana akoto gold ni aboka na Ghana to kokokura aboka na sefo no wo say enye sa na wo say mokeka entin oba bonte be clarify ne ma no buza wo say muntie no mutie ye pa. In fact, enipa bi wo ho no ma mo start am keka sansam no e de wonkofo bi a mo ye neema bi akeka amase ne be ya ban no e ho be ba ehia na ho ba batan no osmunya sa na mani na aye fi se aban no ka Sammy Gyamfi ento gold no e mo ka na mbosi ato aboka kura na aban no nyane mfiri ho se oba kaneleji dabi ne mo opeso kire se ye mfa nhie timu se ye to nya mfaso ne mo mre no kura ne fa no surpluses what you say a chese no nye mfaso bumbi e ba binya na se ye ba binya mfaso gidigidi dabi ebusa we ye nkoma lawyer Sammy Gyamfi abedi aya bon to fa buzu ya fa so adwen chere to comment section mu na meje branking kan ni na ma politics 24 ya crowd.